good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I don't think it's too much of an ask to come to this beautiful building that's about to become a lot more beautiful. With me today is State Senator Ben Hueso, Luis Torrio, who's the president of the Friends of the Villa Montezuma, my friend and director of the city's Parks and Recreation Department, Andy Field. Andy, thanks for being here. And of course, you see behind me and in front of me, many folks from our surrounding Sherman Heights community, as well as supporters of the Villa Montezuma Museum. It is a pleasure to stand here today in Sherman Heights to announce that the city of San Diego has received a $5 million grant in funding from the state of California to return this incredible house to its historic condition. And I'll get to this again, but I want to say, I don't want to bury the lead. This is thanks to Senator Ben Hueso. Ben, thank you so much for making this possible. I will say more about that in a moment, but let me go into the details. The city of San Diego is proud to have the Villa Montezuma among its historic properties that it owns, and to be able to celebrate the history of the Sherman Heights neighborhood, which is also home to one of San Diego's largest historic districts. This home, which was first built in 1887, is a Victoria Queen Anne architectural style, enjoys city, state, and federal historic designations. It is an important reminder of Sherman Heights' cultural, architectural, and historic significance. Now, the city has turned the operation of the home, which now serves as a museum and an event venue, to the Friends of the Villa Montezuma since 1972. And I want to thank Luis Torrio and the other community members who have worked hard to honor the history and to preserve this very important site. Together, the city and the Friends of the Villa Montezuma have worked to ensure that this piece of history can be preserved and remain accessible to the public in perpetuity. Recently, the city invested federal community development block grant funding to address issues with the foundation, the roof, and its chimneys. But this home needs a lot more work. And I'm very pleased to say that the state stepped up and allocated a significant amount of funding to make this project a reality this year. As I mentioned before, this funding would not be possible without the leadership and dedication of my friend Senator Ben Hueso. And Senator Hueso has led the entire state delegation in delivering a historic state budget this year, turning our better than expected state revenues into real dollars that have resulting in investments in the city of San Diego. Investments like new libraries, improvements to libraries, road repairs, infrastructure investments, and important cultural projects like this one. Our delegation came through for San Diego with more than $485 million in region-wide projects and $68.5 million for city projects. A year ago, Senator Hueso and I stood in Logan Heights to announce the state's funding for a badly needed renovations of the old Logan Heights Library, another historic building, which we're in the process now of transforming into a new community asset. That project also would not have been possible without the efforts of Ben Hueso, who throughout his time in the Senate has demonstrated that he has an unwavering commitment to helping us improve the neighborhoods of San Diego and those in his Senate district. I think many of you may know that Senator Hueso's time in the state legislature is coming to an end later this year. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Ben, to thank him profusely for his incredible service as a city council member, as a city council president, as a member of the state assembly, and of course, his time as a state senator. You know, many of you have heard me say my parents are incredible people, Maid and a gardener. They raised my brother and I that our responsibility in life is to simply leave the world better than you found it. I will tell you that Ben Hueso will leave the state legislature having left his Senate district in San Diego far better than he found it. This is just one example of the many ways that Ben has invested in our communities. I am deeply grateful for his service, and because of this $5 million, let me tell you, Sherman Heights will always be grateful to the fact that this beautiful building will be beautiful for many, many more years to come. With that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce my friend and the gentleman who made today's great announcement possible, Senator Ben Hueso, everybody. Ben?
Thank you very much. Absolutely. Very kind words, Your Honor. Thank you very much for being here today, and thank you very much for all your support for the people of the 40th Senate District. I really appreciate how hard working you've been in the last decade of community service. We're also very grateful to you and for your presence here. But you know, today this is really about the Friends of Villa Montezuma. The history of this project is the Friends of the Villa were the original ones that raised the money to buy this house when it went for sale in 1972, and they said this is something that's got to be protected for posterity. and they raised the money to buy this house and to get the city to assume ownership of it so that the city could protect it for many years. And of course, it continues to be a challenge to keep this home standing and to keep it beautiful as it once was. Last time I helped when I was on the council with the money for the foundation of the chimney that was in danger of falling into the neighbor's home. So these homes, of course, this is a work of art that was put together by very skilled craftsmen with very rudimentary tools. So this is probably skill from a time in our history that may have been lost and is no longer practiced today in the area of housing construction. So really it's the Friends of Villa Montezuma that have since 1972 been the leading advocates for carrying this home. And of course, Luis Torrio has been here longer than I've been in office, and she's been one of the strongest advocates. But everybody who is with the Friends of the Villa, please raise your hands, because I see some familiar faces, and all of you have been unwavering in your support for this house. And this house is not only just a house standing in Sherman Heights. It's been a house that's been open to the people of Sherman. When I was a kid, I used to come here for the programs they had, the art programs and the educational programs. So this goes back to when I was a kid in school here locally. And I know that the Villa has done a lot to connect with people's lives really all over the world. People that have visited the world-class city of San Diego, oftentimes when the house was open, made a stop here and marveled at the culture that we have here in San Diego and in California. But you know, passionate people that are passionate for a cause can be very persuasive. And in my last visit, I came here and Louise made her case that we got to do something to save this home. And I threw in an out number. How does 5 million sound? She said, that would be great. And I don't think she believed me, but I said, I'm going to make it my #1 priority. And look, we got it. And I had the minute I learned, I had to call Louise and I said, by the way, we got you. You know, I said it nonchalantly, like it was no big deal. I said, by the way, you got your 5 million. Hey, how are you, Louise? By the way, I just want to let you know you got your 5 million. Bye. But I want to thank my staff too, Jesse Schmitty that's here, and Mario is here. All of them, we're a team, and we work very hard to bring over $120 million to District 40 this year. So this is one of the projects that we're very proud of, and others that I think will be making a large contribution in our community for many years to come. And without further ado, I want to introduce the most important person here, Luis Torrio.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. 135 years ago, when Jesse Shepard built his Villa Montezuma on this hill in Sherman Heights, he was thinking about the future, his future, here in the most beautiful city in California. Jesse lived all over the world, but this was his only home that he built and was his. He would have no idea that this magnificent Palace of the Arts would survive the years and continue to inspire others to love art, music, and literature like he did. He would never know what he built to inspire himself would inspire a neighborhood to become a historic district. We often don't know what our legacy will be. But his unique villa did survive, first as a home and then as a unique, extraordinary museum at the center of what became the Sherman Heights Historic District. Almost 30 years ago, the Villa Montezuma is what made me move to this neighborhood, and I am pleased to chair the dedicated nonprofit Friends of the Villa. We're so grateful that the state of California and the city of San Diego agree with us on the importance of the villa. The Friends worked very closely this past year on this last legislative and budget session with Senator Hueso to get state recognition of this beautiful historic landmark. The results of these efforts and all of you who supported us each step of the way is now a thorough restoration can take place. For that, we are grateful. With this funding from the state, this is a partial list of what the city can now do with assistance from the Friends of the Villa. Repair and restore the exterior, The villa was last painted 23 years ago, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Fix the parts of the roof that are leaking and repair the drainage issues. Landscape the grounds with an ADA pathway and exterior lighting, plus create period-appropriate, drought-tolerant landscaping. Restore and reinstall the priceless stained glass windows that have started to buckle. Upgrade the electrical and HVAC systems to current standards. Install a state-of-the-art security system. Replace worn-out vinyl flooring and carpeting, and create an education center in our basement bistro area. Thank you, Senator Hueso, for making this possible. With this restoration, we will not only fully engage local San Diegans, but we can encourage cultural heritage tourism to show people visiting our beautiful city what is unique and important to our community. This brings a local economic advantage. In Sherman Heights, we say that sharing culture is preserving culture. And the Villa Montezuma has been living this motto since opening as a museum almost 50 years ago in November of 1972. Come see for yourself. Our museum is open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with tours at 1, 2, 3, and 4. Visit our website at villamontezumamuseum.org. Our partnerships are important to us. We want to thank the San Diego Police Department, the retired Senior Volunteer Patrol, who has been with us for so many years. Thank you so much for all that you do. We want to thank our friends at the Sherman Heights Community Center, and we invite you to experience our very spiritual and our amazing Dia de los Muertos celebration. We want to thank the nonprofit Write Out Loud that has brought literature to life with talented actors at PoFest here in the Villa, with performances here the next 2 weekends, so get your tickets now. And on November 12th, when we celebrate the Villa Montezuma opening as a museum 50 years ago, we'll have free tours to the public so everyone can see why we love this place so much. Mayor Gloria, thanks to you and your staff for caring about this museum. Senator Hueso, on behalf of the Friends of the Villa Montezuma and everybody here, we thank you for your legacy of devotion to the Villa and our community, and for your enormous accomplishments at the state of California. Thank you.
Louise, thank you so much. I know we're in the shade, you're in the sun. Let me wrap this up. That doesn't seem quite fair. But I want to thank Louise for her long-term leadership, as well as that of the Friends of the Villa Montezuma. You know, this is Ben and I's job. This is their passion, and I appreciate what you do. We have a check presentation we're going to do, but let me wrap up by simply thanking our city staff. This is a public-private partnership where we have a nonprofit partner in the Friends, but we have an incredible staff, as I mentioned before. Andy Field with the Park and Recreation Department. Some of our other Park and Recreation staff are here. Guys, thank you for what you do. Absolutely appreciate you. Louise mentioned our RSVP patrol. I hope you all feel safe. I do when they're around. And if you are a senior that needs something to do, we got some vehicles you can drive around town, right? We want them involved. And last but not least, I'll just draw your attention to these boards that are here. I referenced it before, but the city has been extremely successful this year in drawing down dollars at the federal and state level. We have been blessed to have robust funding from both levels because of the state surplus and because of the relief funds coming out of Washington. This success is not accidental. It's the direct result of a really talented intergovernmental relations team, our Department of Government Affairs led by Adrian Granda, who's here. Adrian, thank you to you and your team for making sure we get our fair share of resources for San Diego. This money can go to LA and go to San Francisco, but we want it here in San Diego, am I right? And that is also a partnership between our staff and our great delegation. So again, 1 million thank yous, or actually 5 million thank yous to Ben Hueso for making this possible. I invite you all to come back in the not too distant future for a beautifully restored Villa Montezuma. And don't forget, don't sleep on that old Logan Heights library. Ben's help last year means that shuttered facility will soon reopen as a great community center. We're doing the community outreach now. Lucero from my team is working with the neighborhood to make sure that we come up with a vision that fits for them. But that historic building will have a new life as well because of Ben Hueso. So whether it's the Logan Heights Library, this particular facility, Ben, you've done big things in this neighborhood. We thank you. So let's get to my favorite part, which is accepting that cash money, everybody, right? Let's do it. And thank you so much for being here. It's a great day for the Villa Montezuma.